please check the video description. It'll be worth your while. You'll find a bunch of stuff in there. All right, so we got all our wheels moved. I'm purposefully not looking at the camera so I don't hit you with the light. So now that we have this off, we have our, under each wheel brake assembly, we have some plastic sheeting. You're gonna want some penetrating oil. I'm gonna have links to everything in the description. So on every wheel, I'm gonna come around. So this right here, this little cap, we wanna take that off. All right, so we're just gonna gently grab that because we wanna put these back on, these little covers to keep dirt out. So it's just a rubber cover. And this is where we're going to bleed the brake. And there is a nut right here. So we're going to loosen that nut. And these have a tendency, they can break. So before, what we're going to do is take this penetrating oil before we even try to loosen any. And we're going to spray it right there. So we're just gonna do that on all four wheels and just let it sit while we, I'm gonna change the oil while that stuff is working. Another thing we're gonna do for the brake fluid is, this is our master cylinder. Ours is really clean, but you might just wanna clean around it because we're gonna be handling this and we don't wanna get contaminants in our brand new fluid. So I'm just gonna kind of clean around the cap. You can use a paper towel, use a rag, but I figured it's pretty easy to get some warm water and just kind of clean this area real quick. So we'll be working around it. Not going to introduce anything into our clean system. All right, that's good on that. All right. All right, so we're going to start on bleeding the brakes and flushing out all the old brake fluid. So brake fluid is one of those things that some people say you should change it every 2 years. I don't know anyone that does that. Some people say never. That's usually not a good idea. I've just kind of decided that if I'm not having any issues, I'm going to change it every 5 years. That seems reasonable. So some things that happen. So you have what we call the master cylinder. That is this piece right here, and right here. It's where you pour brake fluid into. Okay, this is your master cylinder. And so you have what looks like a fairly small amount of brake fluid sitting in there. And just imagine that you have these little tubes, these little brake lines that go from here. They go to an ABS system, and from there to your brakes and all that. And so you have these tubes that go all the way to all four wheels on your car. So when you add up all the volume that's in that, it's gonna add up. So over time, what they say about brake fluid from other videos I watched is it's hygroscopic, meaning that it absorbs moisture. So that's why it's a sealed system. It's why the cap needs to be on tight. It's why you don't, once you open a bottle of brake fluid, you need to use it. You really can't store it. It absorbs moisture. So what happens is the brake system gets hot. The brake system might get, brake fluid might have a vaporization and boiling point of around 400 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas water is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're absorbing water into your brake fluid and your system gets hot, any water molecules in there are going to vaporize, and that's going to leave a void in your brake line, meaning that your brakes could get spongy, not as responsive, or not work properly or at all if it was too bad. So it just makes sense that every so often you'd want to start fresh and get some new fluid in there. The other thing I forgot to mention that I want to read, because I wanted to say about brake fluid. So notice I have gloves on. Notice I have plastic sheeting under each wheel. I'm gonna have rags. If I spill any, I'm gonna wipe it off. The reason is brake fluid is caustic, and that means it's capable of burning, corroding, or destroying living tissue. It's harmful to your skin, as well as the paint on your vehicle, including your wheels. So like if you have, you know, the metal wheels, it can ruin that coating. And so that's why we always, you want to wear gloves, you want to wear glasses, safety glasses when handling brake fluid, and have rags available to wipe any leaks or spills. We're going to take our cap off of our master cylinder. We've already cleaned this area. All right, let me turn my light on. All right, looks like I've got a little bladder cap here. I wonder if that was supposed to come off with a cap. Anyway, I'm gonna have to take that out of this vehicle. So yeah, this is kind of like a little bladder. So now we got this little filter basket in here as well. So I think I might need to, yep, I'm gonna take that out because I'm not gonna be able to get my brake fluid out with this little filter in here. So I'll wipe all this stuff clean. All right, so now the brake fluid, it looks pretty nasty. So what we're gonna do, we wanna take fluid out without introducing air into the system. So we don't wanna take all of it out. I have a bottle here that I can squirt stuff in. You can use a turkey baster, you can use like a big syringe. I'm gonna use this Mighty Vac fluid extractor. I'll put links in the description. I use this for all sorts of automotive things. So we're gonna start off, and the reason we wanna start off this way is we're gonna be putting new fresh fluid in here. And I want the new fluid to go in the system. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're getting ready to get started. We got to do all four wheels. So just want to go over this real quick. You need to follow your manufacturer's recommendations for the order that you bleed the brakes in, because they basically recommend beginning at the furthest wheel from the master cylinder and working your way to the closest. Well, this is your master cylinder. So normally that would be the passenger side rear, over to the driver rear, over to the passenger front, and then end with the driver front. However, Hondas for many years have followed a different method, and that's what I'm going to do. So this is most likely because the ABS system for most Hondas is in the back, and that can change things. So what Honda usually recommends is is the driver front. So instead of ending with it, we start with it, and then we're going to go to the passenger front, then we're going to go to the passenger rear and end with the driver rear. So we're going to start here, go around that way. So again, that's most likely due to the ABS system. We're going to follow that method. You do it however you want. To me, as long as you're getting all clean fluid out and getting everything clean, I think it would work anyway. But so we're going to follow that Honda method. This is a 10 millimeter wrench. We're going to leave it in there like that. And I'm going to get my hose system on here. I'm getting ready to bleed the brakes on my wife's Honda Pilot, and so I'm going to try this new Mighty Vac automotive test and bleed kit. It's MV8000. I'll put links in the description. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up so that when I'm planning to do this work in the morning, this way I don't have to worry about opening this up then. Okay, so after getting all the plastic off, you're left with a little tray. This is the main piece here that creates the vacuum. It's got a pressure gauge on it. It's got a spot for a hose right here. And this is where you would, create the vacuum in the system. There's a couple of parts here I just want to look at. This is the longer hose. You've got this with one of them says to pump this way, and that's talking about this. You've got this cap here, or this container that has these different hose links in it. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it on this nipple that comes down. We're going to put that inside of our container here. This one that says to pump, we'll put on right here. Okay. Our long hose, it's going to end up going to our bleeder valve. I'm going to put on this end. There are other things here for different jobs, so quite a few little contraptions in here. What we're doing, we're going to the bleeder valve. We may need to pick, these might be the same, or they might be for different size. I think they're the same. Okay, this one. Put the tube in that end. This in that end. And then I'll put this on my bleeder valve. I'll open up that nut on the bleeder valve. I'll loosen the cap on the master cylinder. And they say that's necessary to create the vacuum. And then it will take fluid through here, draw it into here. So we're gonna give this a shot tomorrow. So, all right, this is our Mighty Vac setup. We have our vacuum pump, got our hoses. This is supposed to attach here. So we're gonna pop that on there. Seems to go on nicely. I'm gonna see how it works without a zip tie, but I got the zip tie if I need it. So before I crack that loose, remember we drained fluid out of our master cylinder. All right, so what we wanna do to start, what we wanna make sure is that as we bleed these brakes, that we don't let air get introduced into this system. So we're gonna fill it above the max line until we're done, and then when we're done we'll make sure it's at the max line. So we're going to go ahead and fill this so you can see the color of the new liquid. It's like a clear yellowish. We're going to go all the way up to there because we do not want that to run dry. We're going to cap it. So we're keeping a cap. We're also going to cover this. We're not going to put it on because we don't want a we don't want it sealed because we're trying to pull a vacuum. So if we put that cap on tight, we wouldn't get our vacuum here. So now what we're gonna do is, before I crack that loose, I'm gonna try to pump this. Here's my gauge. So I'm hoping that I can, that's a good sign. We are creating a vacuum. Now I'm going to crack this loose. So, yes, it's brown, but it's not that bad. Probably because it's only 5 years old and we had less than 1% moisture. It's not as bad as I thought it'd be. I just want to look at my master cylinder. It's going down, but we're plenty on the safe level to keep rolling. Okay, so we got that bottle about full. I'm gonna go ahead and crack this. Go ahead and close my wrench. Okay. So we got that. So we're gonna go ahead and dump this bottle. Okay. I don't know if you can get this, but my fluid on my master cylinder was way up to the top, and now it's all the way down here where my finger is. So we got a decent amount out. So we're gonna take the cap off. We're gonna fill it all the way up again. All the way like that. This is a 12-ounce bottle. This is follow your manufacturer's recommendations. Most vehicles take a .3. This is Honda .3. If you hear a meow, we have 2 cats inside, and sometimes they want to help fix the cars. So we got one that's wanting to be out here, and of course we got our dog helping. She's taking a little rest right now. Okay, so again, we're gonna work our vacuum a little bit. And take that off. Take that thing off. Okay. All right. So that fluid was really in good shape. I guess when you think about it, that's really what you want. I mean, it's 5 years old, but yeah, I mean, that's not bad looking fluid. So that's how much we ended up with. Not bad. We'll see over here. I want to get a good look at where sometimes these are hard to read. The fill line is this line right here. It says max right here. This little line. So I want to take this off. I'm gonna put this little filter basket back in, just like that. I'm gonna take my new fluid, and I want to go right to that max line. Filter basket just slows it down going through there. I'm watching the fluid come up. Okay. Looks like we're about there. Okay. All right, so we took that black rubber thing and we put it back in there. Now we just have our cap. Yep, and that goes on right without it pushing up. So, all right, so we got that back on, and it's at the fill line. So what we'll do, is we'll test the brakes. We'll pump the brakes and make sure that everything's good. All right, so there's 32 ounces in a quart. We got out just over a half quart, so we probably got out 17, 18 ounces, something like that. These are sold in 12-ounce bottles, so if you get 2 of those, you'll be fine. Brakes are done. The only thing after we get done, we'll drive it. We'll make sure our brakes are good, just like in the driveway and right around the neighborhood. Thank you for watching. I hope that's been helpful.